Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at Thursday's NBA playoff game that we have one game on the slate as the Warriors and the Lakers will meet once again in game 2 in San Francisco. We're going to be looking at some best bets and player props. We have a player props video up as well. In this one, it's best bets. Like and subscribe to that page so you can check out both of those. Moving forward as well, as we're going to be coming back to you guys for each and every one of these playoff games. Definitely want to make sure to head to thelines.com as well. You can check out all of the great written content we're putting up there and use the odds finder tool. That's where we give you guys all these lines right in front of you so you can shop them across these books that are giving us bets in the NBA postseason. We are getting ahead of everything as all these lines are up for the Warriors and Lakers. It is Wednesday as we are recording this, and so we still don't know necessarily how we did on Wednesday's picks in that Celtics and 76ers game, but it should be a good one. So either way, we'll be getting back to you on how we did in that one. Make sure to check those out as well when you get a chance. Nate, let's just run right into your first best bet for this game.
Yeah, so here's a way to bet on the Warriors money line with a potential big payout and a potential break even. Warriors halftime, full time is minus 130. So that's just the money line. If you put 1.3 on that, let's say you put $13 on that, then you put $10 on Lakers to lead at halftime, Warriors to win at plus 480. So you'd break even if Warriors win, but they're leading. And if the Lakers happen to be leading at halftime and then collapse, which we expect them to do, then you get a nice 4.8 times payday. It's just a question of them running out of gas, right? I mean, AD played 44 minutes. He was dominant in the first half, couldn't even sustain that in the second half. Because while we might think as analysts, like, wow, like they can't guard him, like, well, he still has to expend the energy to blow by Kevon Looney or to hit shots over Draymond. And the Warriors are going to have some stuff for him. Of course, LeBron, we saw in the last round, has to pick and choose his spots and will literally just punt the game if it's not going his way. If you know, they've already earned the split, if they want to go back 1-1, LeBron will conserve his energy for sure. So, I mean, it's only a question of will the Lakers score enough to be up at the half is really it for me. I think the Warriors will take control in game 3. I mean, in quarter 3, both of these teams have really good offensive numbers and like plus 13 net ratings in the playoffs in the third quarter. But like I'm saying, when the Lakers know that they need to conserve their energy, and this series is every other night, unlike a lot of the other series that have like 3 days off right now. When they know that, they're capable of coming out flat, like we saw in Memphis, right, where they lost the third quarter by 9 points. It wound up being like a 20-point deficit and moved on. The Dubs have some history of this. I mean, they have a ton of history in recent years where they just have that third quarter avalanche. We've all seen it. They did trail in game 4 at home against Sacramento, trailed by 4, came back and won that game closely. They trailed in game 6 against Sacramento, of course, did not come back against that one. But, I mean, here's what the Lakers have done in the second half lately, or what their big two guys have done. AD, 8 points per game in the second half, 48% shooting, after going 17 points per game on 70% shooting in his last 3 in the first half. LeBron also 8 points per game, down to 33% shooting. And as we'll talk, later, LeBron not hitting his outside shot, not having the same explosion, and it really shows down the stretch and on normal rest. So I'm thinking the Warriors will be able to take control of this one. So you could also take advantage of that by live betting this. The thing is, if you bet this all before it starts, you're covered even if the Lakers like literally don't show up, because AD's got to be huge, I think, for them to keep winning in this series.
Yeah, he does. It's interesting because, when I looked at game 2, when they were in the exact same scenario, the Lake Show against the Grizz last series, they came out and played in game 2, right? Like LeBron played basically 40 minutes, like 39 and a half, and AD played more than 38 himself. So they didn't buckle. They played poorly. LeBron had 28 for what it's worth, and was going hard, had 11 boards as well. So like he was going. And I don't know how much fuel he still had from hating Dylan Brooks, who then gave him extra fuel after game 2 by calling him old. And then from there, it was over. But, for this one, I love the way that you're handling this. The Lakers to be leading at halftime, the Warriors to win the game is plus 480. Banking on the idea, and really what we're banking on here is that the Warriors win the game based on the fact that they're going to win the second half. And so, you could even obviously just look at a second half line before it gets to, a little bit, if the game's out of hand at halftime, like you said, and the Lakers don't show up at all. And we just expect that to run, right now you might get a better line there for the second half. Right now you could probably get it, I think like Warriors like -2 or something, for the second half based on the fact that it's a 4.5 point spread. So, I would feel really, really good about that right now too, and feel covered there. But the Lakers halftime to be leading at halftime, addition to this just makes, gets you all the way up to basically 5-1 on your money. And it's worth a sprinkle on that when you're able to recoup it with the other bet where we both feel confident that the full-time, result here is that the Warriors win, and winning in the second half. So a couple ways to handle that, but I'm going to just move on to my first pick in this game, which is a quick parlay of under 227.5. I like that a lot by itself at -110 if you want to hit that. But I mean, adding the Warriors money line to it when we both feel the way we do about how this game is going to go. Look, I put some money on Warriors to lose game 1 and win the series. So I really want that bet to hit, and I'm not going to be fading it or necessarily hedging it in any way with game 2. I need them to win that game for this bet to feel any kind of confidence. I really don't want them to have to win 4 out of 6, 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 versus the Lakers to have to win this series. So I think that the under comes to some of the stuff you talked about, tired legs by the half in this one. AD 44 minutes. I mean, they're going to need him to do that. If they're going to shoot the way they shot 5 for 26, and they're going to, and LeBron can't bully his way to the basket like he could necessarily against other teams. Like, say what you want about the lack of height for the Warriors. They are strong down low, and Looney has proven that, and they know how to swarm you when you get down there. They're good against the rim, defending that area, even though, they lost the points in the paint. But more on that in a sec. For the purpose of this quick point, like about the tired legs, first quarter they come out with 102 pace. Second quarter, 114 pace in that one, as they were both just going bananas once again. And then by quarter 3, they came out with a 96 pace, and by quarter 4 it was 90. And these both teams, old teams playing on one day of rest, and on one day of rest this season, things are a little bit slower for both of them. And all their numbers basically drop a bit over the last 15 games. They're actually the exact same on one day of rest, where they're both scoring about 117 and allowing about 110, right at our number here. And I would love to just say that by game, whatever we're at here, game 95 or so for these two teams, basically like we're going to be able to have that tick down a little bit from the average of what they've been doing towards the end of the season there, especially when they both needed to win games to stay in the playoffs. And we're definitely trying as hard as they could, and they will be now, but just on much more tired legs. So I think things got to slow down as well if the Dubs are going to try to defend the Lakers way better than they did. Getting dominated down low around the rim. As good as they are defending it, AD was still a monster. He and Looney both had 23 rebounds, should be mentioned, but the Lake Show won that points in the paint battle 54-28. They had 29 free throws, hit 25 of them. The Warriors had 6 free throws, hit 5 of them. That's 20 points at the line that the Lakers got, in a game that they won by half that, right? So it's definitely a good bet that like the Dubs are going to be trying to defend that a lot better. They don't necessarily have a ton more weapons, but I think that Von Looney has played 35 minutes. He can't play 30 the way he played in that one. And maybe it was for the sake of getting him out there, but same concept for Draymond, played, 33 minutes. They got some JaMychal Green minutes, but I've been talking to some people who also cover the Warriors, as a team that I used to cover as well. And it does seem like Jonathan Kuminga should get on the floor at some point for some defense here as well down low. At least he's super athletic, standing about 6'7" or 6'8". So it's at least another big athletic body they can put out there. And lastly, Jared Vanderbilt, can you please stay on the floor? Because if you do, then the defense also was going to prevail in this game. When he was on the floor in game 1, 100 defensive rating for this team. And I'm sorry, this is throughout the playoffs. And then in game 2, when he's off the floor, 121 defensive rating. So he's worth about 20 points per 100 possessions that they can limit when he's on the floor. But he's just averaged about 3 personal fouls and has 5 personal fouls in 2 different playoff games, 4 and 3 of it, blah, blah, blah. Like, he needs to get 3 or less fouls, because when he does, he gets his props. This team is much better on defense, and I'll feel much better about my under 227.5.
Yeah, I mean, I love the under in this series, and I broke down in game one why I liked it, and everything went right if you were taking an over for like 2.5 quarters. Like Jordan Poole rimming in random 4-point plays that like bounced in and like buzzer beaters and all this crazy stuff, and it still went over by 1 point. So like, yeah, you can hit the under for sure. This was with the Lakers on extra rest. This was with the Dubs, coming on an emotional letdown, so not bringing it the same defensively. They're going to be better on D. They're not going to let the Lakers waltz into the paint or give them 29 free throws again, most likely. And yeah, we talked about those two stars slowing down the stretch. So whether you're going to hit it before the game or maybe live bet it, even if the first half seems like it's high scoring again, look, it's just not going to sustain. There's a lot of veterans out there. And they know that in the playoffs, it's kind of a slow down defensive game down the stretch. So here's another way to bet the Warriors money line, because that's what we're on here. We're expecting a tie series, and I'm going to throw you the conservative parlay here, which is Steph 5 threes, which is crazy to say that's conservative. Clay 3 threes, Warriors win plus 140. 5 threes for Steph is certainly the norm. He's hitting 5.5 at 46% at home in these playoffs. The Dubs clearly not even trying AD and company down low. I mean, LeBron had 3 blocks too. They understand, and the Lakers apparently are scheming to just let them shoot threes. Not that they're going to give Steph and Clay open looks, but everything's happening out there on the perimeter. They shot 21 for 53 as a team. And both these guys hit 6 threes in game one. So, I mean, you could get a little more aggressive with the parlay. Like, if you just go up 1-3 for Clay, you're almost at plus 200. I think maybe you could go up with and then take the Warriors spread if you're going to start going up with the threes, because maybe the Warriors are just getting everything going and they wind up covering relatively easily, consistent with what I'm saying, that the Lakers might punt this game if it's not going their way. But just look at Steph after an L in the playoffs since the finals started. I mean, 29 points, 5 threes, 43 points, 7 threes, 28 points, only 3 threes, 36 points, 6 threes, and then 50 and 7 threes. So he will come right back. And Clay, even though Josh is talking about fading his points, I mean, yeah, he's only averaging 21.5 points, but they're almost all coming from the 3-point line, right? At home in these playoffs, he's hitting 4 a game at 34%. At home in the regular season against the Lakers, 42% on 10 attempts. And the Dubs as a team shoot much better from 3 at home, as you would expect. So I think these are pretty conservative picks in terms of the parlay.
Yeah, they are. I'm with all of that. I definitely don't hate fading Clay's points and still taking him to hit 3 threes. It is pretty much death taxes and Clay to hit at least 2, if not 3 in the playoffs right now, even with his 21-point average. I mean, even especially with it, man, he's not good, nearly as good at going to the rim. So that's where I would rely on Clay doing damage for sure. And then, look, we're taking the Warriors to win this game. Partly, the under, I think, does sort of correlate with the Warriors winning this game a bit in terms of, I mean, it could go either way with an under. But if you're looking at the Lakers not really necessarily getting their points because they slow down on offense. I mean, I don't think that their 5 for 26 was a total anomaly, man. Like, they're not a good 3-point shooting team, especially when D'Angelo Russell can't be trusted to play 30 plus minutes like he was in the regular season. When, I mean, he's playing close to that, but in the regular season he can play as much as he wants when they're less worried about that defense and there's more sort of second unit minutes for him to sort of not necessarily be a big deal that he's not playing defense at all. Now they can't necessarily afford that, so they still have to go defense with Jared Vanderbilt playing a ton. And either way, like, I think the Warriors to win this game is what we like, and I do that. I say all of that because I would like to segue to my pick that also involves a parlay with the Dubs money line. And that is another sort of like, let's just go to the well with some guys that were like, come on, man, death taxes. And this guy to do Looney 12 plus boards, Anthony Davis 12 plus boards, LeBron under 7 assists is one that I like. And then the Warriors to win this game. And that gets you to plus 240 on DraftKings. It's much better than anywhere else that I found it. And on FanDuel, it's about plus 215. So I think it's notably better there for you to take it on DraftKings just in case you're shopping that. But I will say, as I said, my coffee, that, like I said, Loon Dog, come into Looney real quick. Last 6 games of the playoffs, 18.8 boards a game. He hit 12 each of those times. The first 2 he did not. They also were playing him less minutes the first couple games because I don't think they realized yet that he was the second most important player on their team in that Kings series, which they quickly realized and played in the next 5, 30 plus minutes, up to 31 minutes in those. In the playoffs, like I said, 31 minutes a game. Last 5 versus LA as well, 12 and a half boards in 22 minutes during the regular season and this last game combined this year, because 22 minutes was about what he was getting in the regular season, but they still played him as much as they could when they played the Lakers, knowing that they're going to have a combination of LeBron and AD out there, and when they do play, he's out there more, just like he was in Game 1 for 30 plus minutes. But I think he's just another great bet for 12 boards. Same with AD, who also had 23 in Game 1. He's got 15 a game in 7 playoffs game. He's hit 12 or more in 5 of those. His last 5 versus the Dubs, he's averaging 13 per game in 36 minutes, and he just played 44, as we saw. The assist for LeBron going under those, he's averaging 5 in the playoffs in 7 games. He's only hit 7 or more in 1 of those playoff games this year. And I just think he's going to continue to try to score, but you need legs to get assists as well when he works to get them the way that he does, where he's coming down court as fast as he can and looking for guys on the wing or trying to cut into the lane and then kick out and find shooters and things of that nature. Like, that still takes a lot of effort. And I don't think he's got the energy to focus on both of those at this point, to be honest with you. I mean, he chucked up 8 threes, made 1 of them in Game 1, and it seems to be that's the tenor that he's setting anyway, and what he'll probably continue to try to do, at least what he's capable of. So I think it's a good idea. I don't think they're necessarily going to give up, even if they are down double digits in the third quarter, let's say. If they're keeping this game within 12, 14 points, like, he's going to be out there, and I'm banking a lot of that on how Game 2 went in that Memphis series, where it was a 103-93 final. LeBron played 40 minutes, AD played 38, and I think you could see them both play close to that once again.
Yeah, I mean, glad you brought that up, because my thought is, why not add the under? Everything you have here is correlating with the under. That's your first pick. I would probably do that and then take these guys down to 10 plus boards, just because there's a chance they don't get 12 again. I mean, Looney in particular, Moses Maloney, as they're calling him, just getting every single offensive rebound. I don't know if that's going to sustain. Like, maybe he winds up with 10 or 11. So maybe that's the way I would play it, to get and see if the odds actually even improve, because you're adding the under as well.
Yeah, I mean, the statue for Looney is being planned out right now, just so you know. It's going to be outside Chase Center. Like, it's coming, man. And it's going to just be him eating glass, basically taking a bite out of the backboard. He's so great right now. But that is all the time we have in our best bets video for this game. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check out our player props that we have up for you as well. And until we see you next, happy betting.